picked up on this if you follow any of my other socials or possibly here on YouTube, but I bought a van.
Here it is. Here it is. Got a little bit of work to do, but it's mostly ready.
There are a few things wrong with it. Various tubes under the hood needed to be replaced. Part of the transmission was broken. The turbo wasn't working, you know, and other odds and ends. So as what happens if you ever buy a car, you gotta get a few things fixed on it. So it's back there. The mechanic's gonna make sure everything is working well. It may take a little while, but we'll get there, one step at a time. Because I know almost nothing about cars, I used to know nothing, but after this, I've bumped myself up to an almost nothing. Because I know almost nothing about cars, I had the work done by a local mechanic. So it turns out that this van has more problems than I expected when I bought it. So it's fine, a couple of engine problems, but it's at the shop still, and it's getting figured out. We'll get there, slow and steady, but we'll get there, one step at a time. I also put in some orders to get a custom roof rack built and for 4 brand new all-terrain tires. It's been about 2 weeks since I ordered, 2.5 weeks since I ordered my new tires and since I left the van to get kind of measured and fitted. Trying to build a roof rack from scratch, trying to figure out a good way to make it work, fit everything on there. Yeah, 2.5 weeks.
We have finally settled on a design for the roof rack that is not too heavy and will still support the weight that it needs to. So yeah, just left the van here again after driving around a bit, and just left the van here to get that figured out and squared away. Hopefully that'll be done soon. Still waiting on my tires though. It's been a month, so Albania, I guess.
Not long after those complaints, my roof rack was finished and it was ready to do a couple more things that I wanted to do. The tires, however, still aren't here as I'm even recording this. And as best I understand, they're possibly at a warehouse in Greece, but the guy here in Albania can't go get them because he's, yeah, thanks COVID. But since the roof rack was finally finished, I was able to get the solar panel set up, which I had bought right when I first bought the van, possibly even before. And it had been sitting in my office, just waiting. And while we were getting that set up, we threw the LED light bar on there as well. The solar panels sat on top of the car for a few days before I could finally get someone to help me with the wiring. So the solar panel and the LED bar are getting connected right now. I'm not doing any of it. I'm just sitting here while Alban is connecting all the wires. So yeah, that about sums up the backstory. How about a quick tour of the van? Okay, editor James here, obviously, headphones, computer, in the house. So I filmed this video, the second part of this video, outside, which turns out was not the best idea because it was a little bit windy today and I had problems with my microphone. I've salvaged it, but just excuse any wind noise and maybe some light voiceover redubbing that I couldn't. Anyway, you'll understand when you hear it, but just, yeah, sorry about the wind. This is Bane. I believe he's a 2000, I think it's 2000, Volkswagen T4 Multivan. It's a 4x4. I believe there's a 2.5 liter turbocharged diesel engine in there, and yeah, that's about all I know about that. If you want to know more, just ask in the comments and I'll get back to you. I'll be the first to say it. There's nothing particularly exciting about the inside of this guy. I haven't done much to change anything, mostly because I'm taking my time to make sure I know what I want before I make any permanent changes. I have a nice wooden phone holder that a friend made for me, and then I have the switch that controls the LED bar that's on top of the van. Under the driver's seat, we have the second battery. Second battery is connected to the alternator for charging, and then also to the solar panel through that controller. This battery powers everything in the back of the van, 12 volt plugs, lights, all of that fun stuff. It also runs to an inverter, and I have a power strip right here to plug in my drone, my camera, or my laptop. So that sits nicely under the front passenger seat. Because this is not connected, this battery is not connected to the main battery, I could theoretically use all of these lights and everything back here and run this back battery dry and still be able to start the car after that. I also, in theory, could charge the back battery from the solar panel, and then if the front battery died, jump the front battery from the back battery, theoretically starting my car just from the power of the sun, which is better than a Tesla. So one last nice thing about the front is there's a built-in diesel heater here, and that takes a little bit of fuel from the main fuel tank and uses power from the second battery to put out hot air from down here. Now, there's a timer on it that I can set it to go off at any time I want. So I could turn on the heater, I could go out for a hike or a nice swim in the lake and come back and the van will be nice and warm and toasty. I also could set it to turn on at like 6 a.m. so that while I'm sleeping back here, then I wake up, and when I wake up, the van is already being warmed up, which is clutch. Now we come to the back garage area of the van. There's nothing especially exciting, but I wanted to be able to keep everything in it so that when I'm ready to go, I just have to buy some food and get on the road. So I have my storage. I have my kitchen box here. This is my toolbox. That's a box of wood for my house. And this is just odds and ends, fire starting stuff, and stove and shower and whatnot. Here we have a rotating captain's chair, which means that it can face forward or backward. And this handy fold-out table that I can sit and eat dinner with a constant reminder that I am completely alone. We have a 12-volt refrigerator, which is really just a glorified electric cooler. It doesn't really keep things cold. If you're just going out for a few days, it does the trick. Last but not least, I'm sure, is my bedroom, and it's as easy as snapping my fingers and we have a bed. There's not much room for activities when the bed is folded out, but since I don't typically sleepwalk that I know of, the more space to sleep, the better. So yeah, that's a basic overview of my guy Bane. And if you have any other questions, shoot me a DM on Instagram at James Leithart, and I'll get back to you as quick as possible. That's also a good place to follow along if you're curious about like what other updates and modifications I'd be doing on the van. I currently don't live out of Bane full time, but I have spent a lot of time camping and traveling with him. I'm sure that'll increase as the years go on. And I'll keep making videos about that experience. So if that's something that's interesting to you, then I would appreciate if you subscribe. But even if you don't, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Well, not if you don't subscribe, but yeah, whatever. You get the point.